Everybody always asks why I moved out to Oregon. The short answer is the witness protection program. I didn't really have a choice. They just stuck me out here. Totally joking. I'm not, you wouldn't want to be like broadcasting that to people if you were in the witness protection program. But I always love to see the reactions that I get from people when I say that. So I moved out here in 2000. My dad owned an exterminating company, and the plan for my life was for me to take that over. We didn't know that the chemicals that he used were extremely dangerous. They're off the market now. And he wound up actually passing away from the use of those chemicals. So my mom begged me, she said, please do not follow in his footsteps, do something else with your life. So I had gone into the military and got out of the military, worked a few different little jobs in New York, and then we moved out here, and I bounced around from a few different jobs, really didn't find anything that I liked. Got on at Weyerhaeuser, and I thought the job was pretty good. There was always things changing, and I could never, I would get interested in something and then I'd get bored with it and I'd want to do something else. And so Weyerhaeuser was great because they had so many different jobs that you could do. And from doing all those different jobs, I learned all these different aspects of a business. And then I decided, when my friend got caught in a piece of equipment and lost his life, I decided that I was going to do something to make people's lives safer. And I wanted to really help people. And I didn't really care how I was going to do that, but I knew that I was going to do it something to make a difference in people's lives. And so I thought the easiest thing would be to take over a mill and do mill management and just run a business and make people's jobs safer. And so I looked around here. There's not really a whole lot of mills here that'll hire you right into a management position. But there were a few up in Portland. And so I had a job offer from a mill in Portland. And then at the same time, am I supposed to say what company I work for? Because you were kind of vague with that. So I wasn't sure if you wanted me to.
No, you can if you want.
Oh, okay. So State Farm actually reached out to me and said, hey, how would you like to open up your own business? And so I said, yeah, I'm not interested in insurance, leave me alone. But they kept hounding me. And so I figured, I'll give them a shot. I'll listen to their little sales pitch and see what they want from me. So in researching owning my own business or running somebody else's business, I learned a lot of different things on, what it would take financially, what it would take just from my time and for my family, and what it would mean for us. And the State Farm opportunity just seemed to be the best for our situation. And the reason that I say that, a lot of businesses, if you're going to open your own business, they're going to cost a lot up front for, like a franchise fee or a buy-in or capital to run the business. And with State Farm, the only thing I needed was capital to get me through the first few years. And I am just kind of, I'm going into my third year of owning this business. So I'm a fairly new business owner. But I love it. I love the freedom that it gives me. I get to hire my own employees. My wife works with me. I mean, she's not here right now, but so like our office, she's next to me in our office. So we have our desks next to each other. She was here earlier, but one of our kids had something that they needed to do. So she gets to leave and go take care of the kids. There's times that I leave and go take care of the kids. There's times that, I know she's going to be busy. So I leave early and I get dinner made or whatever. And I just love the freedom that I have by owning my business. I also love knowing that I get to help people, not only with insurance, because insurance is boring and stupid and nobody ever wants to talk about it, but I get to help my employees and I get to help the community. So we are actively involved in the community. We deliver food boxes to people's houses around here that, they've fallen on hard times and they can't afford food. So we bring them food boxes. We help out in our church a lot. My employees, when they need something, it feels more of like a family than just a boss employee kind of relationship. And I get to choose how I want to run that business. I can be a jerk boss and make everybody, punch a time clock, but I mean, we're all adults here, and so I give them the freedom to do their job, and they do a great job for me. I have one employee now that's completely remote. She just had a baby, so I get to, and that's up to me to decide if I want to have remote employees or if I want to make them come into the office. And so if you're interested in really making a difference in your life, your family's lives, and other people's lives, I would say owning your business is the way to go, because no other opportunity is going to give you the freedom to do that. Some of the things that you have to know, though, um, you have to wear a lot of hats. So there's a lot of days that I don't get to go home until all my stuff is finished. But then there's other days that I, decide, hey, I don't really want to go into work today. So I call up my top employee and I go, hey, if I didn't come in, would that ruin your day? And usually he says, no, it would make my day better because I wouldn't have to see you. So we have a lot of fun here, but you have to, you have to be good at math. You have to be good in English. Because there's a lot of written things that you have to do. So emails and reports and all those things. Math, you have to know what you're doing with your numbers. So for taxes or payroll, and that actually, when I get off this call, I have to do payroll. So there's going to be some fun math stuff. And I was telling my daughter the other day, because she was doing some, I don't remember what math she's in, but she was like, I'm never going to use this in life. And I was like, actually, you are going to use that. And you get to deal with lots of fun tech issues too as the business owner. Like when you're on a Zoom call and phone calls come blaring through your headset and ring. I don't know, could you hear that on your end? No, okay, good. Then I won't worry about it. So you have to be your IT guy, you have to be your HR guy, you have to be your accounts payable, accounts receivable, you have to be your own purchasing manager. And so I did a few jobs. Like I was a purchasing manager at a cabinet shop, and so I learned that skill there. I was in charge of my department at Warehouser, and so I learned, ordering equipment and materials that we needed for our daily operations. So like accounts receivable and that kind of thing. Accounts payable, because I was in charge of the money that we were spending in our department. So there's a lot of things that you'll learn in school and at other jobs where they might not seem that important at the time, but they could really make a difference to you when you become a business owner. So, I mean, did I keep it short enough and describe enough things to give just a taste to get questions? Or is there anything you'd like me to be more specific about? Or
So you were talking about the skills like math and English. How do you feel? How did you increase those skills in your own life?
so I I was a decent student through high school, but I knew that I was going to go military and then take over my dad's business. So I didn't really worry too much about my grade. I got mostly B's and A's, but math was one of those subjects that I had done enough of by 11th grade that I didn't need any more credits to graduate. And so I was having a rough day in math class one day, and I got up and walked out of the classroom and went down to the office and canceled the class and said, I'm not taking any more math. I don't need it. I'm not taking it. So then as I became an adult and realized, wow, that was really stupid. Um, when I had the opportunity to go to a apprenticeship through Warehouser, I jumped all over that and I took any math classes I could at LCC. So I don't have a traditional degree, but I did go back to school and wound up having to pay out of pocket for some additional math classes when I could have just taken some of that stuff in high school for free. So so I had to be self-taught. And just some of the jobs that I've had. So I'm a journeyman millwright. That's like an industrial mechanic by trade. I'm one of 40 people, last time I checked. I don't know if anybody else has gotten the certifications, but the certifications that I held in that field, I'm one of 40 people in the world that was able to acquire those certifications. So I've spoken at conferences that were broadcast around the world. I've been published internationally for things in that realm with the millwright stuff. And I think that's also kind of, so whatever job you're doing, no matter what it is, always do your best at it. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that like an adult would, but I was a jerk as a kid and a high school student. I was a jerk to my teachers, to the staff at the school. I bet if you talk to any of my teachers, they'd be like, he owns a business. Like we could barely get him to come to class, right? So use the time that you have in high school now to your advantage, because I had to catch up on all of that through jobs that I had. And these little skills that you'll learn that seem like nothing will really pay off in the long run for you.
Great. So I guess one thing students might want to know, as a business owner, how long did it take you to be financially solvent? How long, did it take you to where you felt like you were making a family wage to support your family? Or
So with this opportunity, this is a very slow growing business. Typically it's right around the 3-year mark where you really start to make really good money. Fortunately for me, I timed it just right to open my business right before a pandemic. And so I get to deal with all of that on top of this. So we anticipate it'll like right now we're kind of just breaking even. And so we anticipate probably like year 4, it's going to add an extra year to our before we're actually making a really decent amount of money. Year 4, no later than year 5. So you have to make sure. And when I did my budgeting for this, everybody was like, oh yeah, by the start of year 3, you're going to be making so much money, you don't need to worry about it. I was just like, you never know what's going to happen. So I would rather bank on making money at year 5. And if I do it before then, great. So I would always say anticipate 5 years. And my uncle is a multi-millionaire. He lives down in Florida. He's opened tons of different businesses. And he told me, he said, always bank on year 5. Year 5 is going to be the one. If you can stay in business for 5 years, you'll be fine. So I would say 5 years would be a
good to know.
yeah.
So have you met a lot of other people in the insurance industry since then? Do you have any mentors yourself?
Yeah. So within State Farm, we do so every State Farm office that you see is independently owned. We all own our own insurance company. So like mine is Chris Brokopp Insurance Agency. I was really creative with the name. But it doesn't go on anything. It's like on my bank account and it's on some state record somewhere in Salem. But that's the only place that you'll ever find Chris Brokopp Insurance Agency, maybe online somewhere. But all of our signs say State Farm. So all of the, not all, but most of the State Farm agents in Eugene and Springfield will get together. We'll do like breakfast, lunch, we'll do dinners at each other's houses and stuff. And we just talk about what's going good, what's going bad. If we ever come up against something that we don't know the answer to, we have a Skype for the entire State Farm Corporation. So there's over 100,000 people on there that we can contact at any moment in time just through Skype. So we just type in their name and they pop up, and then we can send them it tells us if they're at their computer or if they're away or what they're doing, and we can talk to them through there. There's other insurance companies in town that I've become friends with those people too, because State Farm isn't always the best option for everybody, right? And so if I'm being true to why I opened this business of wanting to help people, that doesn't mean selling every single person I talk to insurance, because a lot of times some of those people are going to have needs that are better met by a different company than State Farm. And so, yeah, I might be able to sell them a policy, but if I know deep down inside that I'm overcharging these people and they could get a much better deal somewhere else, then I shouldn't be selling that policy. And so then I'll say, hey, you might want to check out, because by our contract with State Farm, we're really not allowed to push business away. So I have to be diplomatic with it in a way and say like, yeah, I can get you this, but it might be in your best interest to shop around. You might want to try looking at these other companies, and I have to give them, 3 other company names, or you could call a brokerage that represents all 3 companies, and see what your rates would be there. And so we don't have that happen very often, but if I know that somebody's going to be better suited somewhere else, I'll push for them to check. And because I don't want somebody struggling to pay their insurance bill with their hard-earned money when they could have a better rate through somebody else. So that's.
So that brings me to another question was, how do you be friends with your competitors?
So I think that's something that my dad drilled into me as a little kid. He was always saying, competition is what makes the economy grow. If you have a monopoly, you hear all these people talking all this stuff about monopolies and how horrible they are. And it is kind of true for the economy. So, like I said, every State Farm office is independently owned. So every State Farm agent is my competition. Every Allstate office is my competition. So do I want to worry about these people stealing customers from me? Or would I rather have somebody that I'm friends with say, hey, you're Chris's customer. You need to go talk to him about this. So if somebody gets mad at me because their bill went up by 32 cents a month or something, and they start calling around to other State Farm offices and say, hey, this guy raised my price. Well, they know I had nothing to do with it because that all comes from corporate. And so if I can educate other companies too to know how State Farm does their pricing, when somebody calls and they're all upset because their price went up, they're going to say, hey, you should call Chris and talk to him about that, instead of, oh yeah, let me steal your business right now. So it's very beneficial to be friends with your competition, because if you help each other out, when that tough customer comes along and they're looking to switch, if they're your friend, they're going to do whatever they can to help you save your business. And
Okay, I am going to ask students, I am going to stop the recording now, and then the students can turn on their videos and you can unmute and we can just have a conversation with Chris about owning your own company. So thanks very much, Chris.
my
That wraps
pleasure.
it up.